Hey there and welcome along to the channel once again. Peter Rising here, Microsoft MVP. It's great to have you back with me once again for another video in this series where we're going to learn some more about Microsoft 365 and Azure AD from the very beginning. We are working along through the MS 102 exam outline guide. You don't necessarily have to be studying for that certification, but if you are, then hopefully we can help you out with some video guides and links to that all-important learn.microsoft.com documentation. In today's video, we're going to move on to the next subject, which is monitoring the service health. We're going to look at how you can look at all of those all-important health notifications and information that is within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We're also going to show you how you can access some of the usage reports that are in there as well, and you can look at things like adoption scores and so on and so forth. There's lots of powerful stuff in there, so hopefully you'll learn something cool. Let's take a look. So from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center at admin.microsoft.com, we need to navigate through the left-hand panel and go down to Health. And here we can see quite a lot of items within the health area. We have Dashboard, we have Service Health, we have Windows Release Health, Message Center, Product Feedback, Network Connectivity, Threats and Antivirus, and Software Updates. So let's take a look at these one by one. We'll start with our dashboard. And this is our overview where we can view data about your Microsoft 365 apps and services and see recommended actions to keep your organization up to date and secure. And it points out that this page is in preview at the moment, so it's a good opportunity to share your feedback with Microsoft. What you want to see on this page, what you would like to change about it or add to it. And we're getting a good indication straight away that we have no critical alerts to show, and we've been updated very, very recently. That is the date on which I am recording this video, in fact. So, what can we see? The service health and usage. We can view the current health status of your apps and services plus usage data for the last 30 days. Now we can start here with Exchange Online, and we can see that under the health column there are two advisories. So we can take a look at those straight away. And the flyout panel, it's going to tell us what the potential issues are. So what we can see here as we highlight the issue title is that users may be unable to manage meeting times in Outlook on the web if they're using a Japanese input keyboard. So that's an advisory only, and you will find that there will be different levels of warnings in that health column. So this is not one that is particularly to be concerned about. And we can do the same on the next one down. And in fact, if you click further, you can get even more detail on that. I've clicked on the next one down, and we can see that users' scheduled meetings may appear 1 hour ahead in Exchange Online. And we can see the number of that case. We can see when it was last updated and its estimated start time. We see the affected services, which is Exchange Online, the issue type, which is advisory, and the issue origin, which is of course Microsoft. Our status is service degradation, and we can manage notifications for this issue, which is something we do need to look at as part of those last 3 topics in this section that we are looking at. So let's in fact take a quick look at how we do that. How do we manage our notifications for this issue? Let's take a look. If we go into there, it's nice and simple. We can enter up to 2 email addresses separated by a semicolon, and we can then get notified about this incident. So I will put in my email address, which is Peter Rising at peterrising.m365.com. And I'll just put that in. And then I'm going to get notifications on this incident right to my mailbox, which is excellent. So email notifications are going to be sent whenever the status of the issue changes. Awesome. What is the impact? It's going to give you a lot of great information here on the impact of each incident that you're going to see in the health dashboard. And it shows us here that the user's scheduled meetings may appear 1 hour ahead in Exchange Online. And then under all updates, at the very bottom here, we get all of the update history for this particular incident. So we can see the title of the incident, the impact, more info, and we can get a lot of detail and look back at all of the date history for this particular incident. So Microsoft really do provide a lot of information here on these incidents. So that was Exchange Online. Now, we're in a good position here as we record this video. The health status in our dashboard is looking generally good for all of our other services. We can see that OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, and Yammer are all healthy. We can click onto those and apparently nothing happens. So we'll only get information to pop out on the flyout panel if there is an active incident. So there we go. And if we click on this view all in service health, it's going to take us actually into the service health area, which if we go back into here, we can see on the left hand side, we were on the dashboard, but now it's taken us right into this next one down, which is the service health area, which is what we wanted to look at next. And in here, we get three tabs at the top. We get our overview tab where we can view the issues and the health status of all the services that are available to you with your current subscription. So that's important. You're only going to see what is relevant to you, what you are currently subscribed for. So we have that on the overview page. And here we are. We can see the active issues here, which we can toggle up and down as necessary. The Microsoft Service Health, we have our 2 issues there, which we saw on the dashboard previously. So we can view these from here as well. And we can scroll down and we can see more detail on some wider Microsoft Service Health areas. So we have things in here like Azure Information Protection. I really wish they would not still call it that, because it should be more properly named Microsoft Information Protection now. Very confusing, and I do find that annoying. We have all sorts of great stuff in here that we can look at though. We have Dynamics, we have Identity Service, we've got some Defender stuff in here, we've got some Power Automate. There is a ton of stuff in here, and we've picked a good day to record this video because everything is looking good, everything is looking healthy, which is, let's face it, what we want to see. Fantastic. What we can do from here as well, of course, is we can report an issue if we are experiencing an issue that is not listed in our service health here. So we can go in and report an issue, and we can tell Microsoft about a new outage or slowdown or other service issue that you're experiencing. And if confirmed, they will add it to the incidents list so it can be tracked and resolved. You can choose if this is causing a significant impact to your business. Where is this issue occurring? We can choose the product area. And how would you categorize the issue? So you can put in, well, if we select an issue type, we can get the drop downs here for what we can choose. So users can't connect or sign in, issues with sending or receiving emails, or issues managing calendar events or invites. And then you can put in a description up to 1,000 characters and submit your issue. We'll not do that obviously because we don't have an issue just now. What we can also do here is we can customize our page view here, and we can filter what we do and don't want to see. So we can untick some of these services that are not relevant to us potentially and that we don't want to see. And under email here, we can choose to select this checkbox here to send me email notifications about service health. So this is similar to what we did in one of the earlier steps. And we can enter up to 2 email addresses here to be notified about issue types like incidents, advisories, issues in your own environment that require action, and then choose the services that you want to include. So this is great. Microsoft are giving us a ton of great stuff here. And if, like me, you prefer dark mode, you can very easily toggle it to dark mode as well, if you so wish, which we'll switch it back to light mode, though, for the purposes of demoing, which I always find is easier. So that is our overview tab in service health. We can look at the issue history as well, see some of the issues that have previously been raised. And we can see the history here where some users in Morocco may have been able to access any Microsoft 365 service or feature. We can see the service name described there, the origin, the ID, the status, and we're seeing some nice service restored there. And we can see the start and end times as well. And once again, we can see more detail on this by clicking the flyout panel. And here for the first time, we are seeing more than an advisory. Those advisories in blue there that are not really going to cause any real inconvenience to anyone. This is an incident. This is a nasty red warning triangle. So this is a critical service issue with noticeable user impact. So we can get a lot of history on what happened and when and why. Microsoft really are diligent with updating this content. So that is fantastic. And then we can see in the reported issues, any issues that we have reported. As we saw just a few moments ago, we can report issues. And any that you have, you would be able to see and track them here. But we haven't reported any in the last 30 days. So we're not seeing anything in there at the moment. So that is a quick view at the service health. Let's scroll down further in our health area of the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And let's take a look at Windows release health. So here we can find information about known issues for currently supported versions of the Windows operating system. And we can look at all versions, known issues, and history. And here under all versions, we can see the various versions of Windows 11 and 10. And we can look at any active and recently resolved and any history. So let's pick on one. Let's pick on Windows 11 version 22H2. Let's go for the top one and have a look at anything that is active. And we are getting a lot of information in here. We can see there are some issues, such as local security authority protection is off. With persistent restart, we can see our status, our originating knowledge base, originating build, originating date, and resolving KB, resolved date, and when it was last updated. And again, if you click on that, we can get a flyout panel telling us what the impact is and get a lot more details. So the user impact of this particular one is once enabled, your Windows device might persistently notify you that it is vulnerable and that a restart is required. And we can see here the latest message. And after installing an update for Microsoft Defender Antivirus anti-malware platform, and there's the KB article, you might receive a security notification as described. So you can see that you're going to get a lot of information here relating to your Windows release health and what you can do, and links to those great KB articles where you can get further information. And you can filter these views as well. So you can filter by version. While you're in here, you can quickly switch over to Windows 10, for example, and see those known issues. And it's switched us, you'll notice there, to the known issues tab. So it's automatically toggled us there, and we can see that these known issues for this particular version are listed. And then again, similar to before, we're going to get some history of some Windows release health issues which have now been resolved. Very nice indeed. A lot of information in here. Next, we'll take a look at Message Center. Now here we can see lots of messages in here, and each message is going to give you a high-level overview of a planned change and how it may affect your users, and links to more detailed information to help you prepare. So this is going to give you some insights in what is coming with the services that you are using. And you can filter these by service or by tag or by message state. So it's an inbox, and there's an archive as well. So this is great. This is a great way for administrators to get ahead of the game and see what is coming in terms of changes to the services and the features that are being used in your organization. And we can see that we have services such as the Microsoft 365 apps, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Bookings, Exchange Online, M365 Defender, Windows, the M365 suite. There is a ton of content in here. We've got YAML, we've got SharePoint Online. So much to come here. And this is the sort of information that you can also view from the Microsoft 365 roadmap website. It's a similar principle, but just presented in a slightly different way, and it's very, very easy to digest and filter for administrators. So let's take a look at one. It's always good to keep up with what is going on with Microsoft Teams. So let's start with this one here. Enable second video stream with Teams content camera on desktop. What is this all about? So it shows us the number of the update when it was published, and then we get a message summary. And it's telling us that users will be able to enable a second video stream to support both their personal video and Teams content camera on desktop feature. And when enabling the Teams content camera on the desktop feature, the personal video is expected to be maintained, so long that the user selects a separate camera to support the two video streams. And the roadmap, the M365 roadmap that I mentioned just a few moments ago, it gives us a link to the actual roadmap ID, which you can click on. So let's in fact do that. Let's go to that all-important roadmap site, which I encourage you to bookmark. Any Microsoft 365 administrator needs to know about this site. This is superb. And it's going to take us right to that incident, and we can expand that out and see the details from right within the roadmap. And we can see in the roadmap that this is a feature in development and testing. It's not rolling out yet. It hasn't been launched. So we'll see more of the roadmap in the coming videos, I am sure, because there is so much content in here. But you can also link to it from the message center, as we can see. So it's telling you when this is going to happen as well. This is a preview feature right now. We'll begin rolling out in late March. So as we record this, it is late March right now, and it's expected to be completed by early April. That's the preview. Standard release, they'll begin rolling out in late March and expect to complete by late April. And how this will affect your organization. The feature will be applied to the Teams content camera on desktop feature automatically. What do you need to do to prepare? You may consider updating your training and documentation as appropriate. So it's giving you advice on how you can prepare your users for these changes. Awesome. And you can even put a little thumbs up or thumbs down. Do you like this change? Let's go ahead and like that. And it's captured my feedback. And it's trying to suck me in here and let me tick much more boxes and put some text in. And I really should do this because feedback is good, but I'm so lazy. I never like doing that. That's just a quirk of mine, though. I'm sure I'm not alone, though. So there we go. Lots of great content in the message center. So good. And again, we can filter by message state. We can filter by favorites, unread, updated. We can filter by tag, such as admin impact, data privacy, feature update. Let's apply one of those and see what comes back. And we can filter by service. So we can filter by, say, Exchange Online and get all of those wonderful Exchange Online updates that we need to plan for. This is really, really cool stuff. The message center, I cannot emphasize enough how much admins can use this and plan for rolling out features to your organization. We can look at the archive, as I say, as well. Look at some previous content that will be in there. I've still got those filters on, but that's probably not going to make a difference because I haven't archived anything off, which is something that you can do with this content. You can actually select them and and process them off once you've finished. But really, really cool stuff indeed, and I cannot recommend it enough. A couple of other things you can do within the message center. You can click on the preferences. You can customize your view again and select the services that you do or don't want to see. You can once again configure your email preferences. You can receive email notifications at a primary email address and put other email addresses in and choose the emails that you want to get, either for major updates or data privacy messages, or you can even receive a weekly digest, which is what I have selected here, which is cool. And then a really cool feature, which has been available for a while, is that you can actually sync the message center to Planner, sync with Microsoft Planner, and that'll enable you to create tasks from each of the posts you see in the message center. And in Planner, you'll be able to assign those tasks to the appropriate people who'll be responsible for that feature. And you can set deadlines and track them till complete. And you choose which products and categories to sync for your organization. Sync messages go to the plan and the bucket that you choose, and tasks can only be assigned to the people associated with your plan. And you can set up the syncing. And nice and simple to do. You can select your plan. If you already use Planner, you can select an existing plan, or you can create a new plan in Planner. I don't have any plans in this tenant, but I have done this before on live tenants. This is a new demo tenant that we've been using right from the start of these videos. But it's nice and simple. Select a plan, use an existing bucket or create a new bucket, next, and then you've got a nice plan in Planner linked to all of these selected messages and feature improvements. Very nice indeed. Okay. A few more items in here. We have product feedback next. Here we can send feedback to Microsoft, and when your users send feedback, you can read it here. So yes, this is user feedback. In fact, when users send feedback to Microsoft, it will be recorded here, and you can view it about their experiences with Microsoft 365 products. The feedback is refreshed hourly, and you might not see the feedback on all products in the list. You can export this to a CSV. And here we can see a couple of items in here. In fact, these are probably the ones that I just did a few moments ago. So no comment provided because I was lazy. It records the user ID and the date submitted and the feedback ID and the feedback type and so on and so forth. So a very good way of tracking what your users in your organization are saying to Microsoft with their feedback. Very, very cool stuff indeed. Then we have NPS survey insights. So NPS is the Net Promoter Score, which are surveys that gather customer feedback and measure how likely customers say they are to recommend products and services to their friends and colleagues. So this data can be used at the organizational level to determine strategies for adoption and rollout. Now this feature is linked to Microsoft surveys, which we have not actually enabled on this tenant yet. You have to enable Microsoft surveys in order to use this feature, and you can learn more about Microsoft surveys here. It'll take you right to the Learn documentation, which you know by now that I love, and it gives you some instructions here as well, what you need to do to enable that. We'll not get into the weeds of that because that's very straightforward to do, but just to give you an idea that Net Promoter Score capability is here within the product feedback section. We then have network connectivity as well. And we get an overview and some locations here. And what we need to do here is we need more data to generate network connectivity insights. So to get started, we need to turn on the location opt-in setting to automatically collect data from devices that use Windows location services. Go to your locations list to add or upload location data, or have someone run the Microsoft 365 network connectivity test from your office locations. And we can see here instructions on how to set up the prerequisites. So it's going to take you right in to this Learn doc as well on what you need to do to enable this feature. So again, really cool stuff. And I'll put all of these Learn links in the description of this video, so you can go and explore them at a deeper level and set these up yourselves. So we've got that overview there. We can see the locations. We can add locations from here. Nice and simple to do. And then send Microsoft address information. Partial and full addresses are shared with Microsoft Bing Maps. So just make sure you're comfortable with that. And you can read more and look at the terms of use and the privacy statement. Privacy is hugely important. So do take the time to be diligent and look through all that. And here you can add in an office location. So you can put the name and then you can put the location in and look on the map and start doing all that sort of cool stuff. Absolutely excellent. Really, really powerful. We can look at some settings here as well. We can look at locations, which we've already taken a look at. We can look at sharing and user submitted reports, and we look at SD-WAN solutions as well. So sharing and user submitted reports, you can choose to share your network assessment and insights with Microsoft for purposes of troubleshooting. And you can choose some settings here for how you want to share and what things you want to include. So, and then we have the SD-WAN solution as well, which is software-defined wide area network devices that can improve the connectivity between your office locations and Microsoft 365 because they can have multiple direct internet circuits, providing redundant connections to Microsoft 365. So here you can go in and you can add these SD-WAN solutions and data locations, and you can select the deployed solutions such as Cisco vManage. You can select a location from North America, Europe, Australia, or Asia Pacific, and you can go through the wizard and add in all of the criteria to allow the sharing of Microsoft 365 informed network routing data. So nice and simple, and definitely worth knowing about and taking a look at. Fantastic stuff. You can do the network connectivity test from here as well. If you click on that, it's going to take you right to connectivity.office.com. And this is really good. You can automatically detect your location, or you can specifically add your location here. You can optionally add your domain here, and then you can go ahead and run the test. And then it's going to ask if it can know your location, so I'll allow that. It's going to tell me that on my Mac the preferences are turned off, so I'll not go through the rigmarole of going and enabling that, but it should go ahead and do a network connectivity test and give us some results on the performance from this location. I imagine mine will not be that brilliant because my internet connectivity in my home is not the greatest. I'm looking into improving it as soon as I can, but it is what it is at the moment. So this will come back and it will give you some statistics on your results. And we have some network health status there as well, which is going to show you the network health status of locations where Microsoft receives a high volume of traffic from customers connected to services such as Teams, Exchange, SharePoint, and other services. And we can see that we've got a nice healthy map around the world here as we look at this. Lots of green, yellow is for degraded, and red is for unhealthy. So we can get some cool information there as well. Okay, cool. So that is network connectivity. Let's take a look at the next item, which is threats and antivirus. And here, this shows us all threats that have been detected on any device connected to your company. Data appears in this list. So whenever possible, Microsoft Defender Antivirus mitigates these threats for you. So in our journey at the moment, we've not got any devices set up in Microsoft Endpoint Manager, or more appropriately named Microsoft Intune now, as it is now known again. But this portal has not been updated to reflect that yet. So we're not going to see any data in here yet because we have no managed devices yet. So we'll come back to that when we get to the point of looking at Endpoint Manager in another video, or Intune more accurately. But this is just an awareness of what this section is for, and it's going to show you all those threats that have been detected. And then the last one under the health area is software updates. And we can see here Microsoft 365 apps and Windows. And this is going to monitor Microsoft 365 updates for devices in your organization to make sure that devices have the latest security updates. So you have to manage those deployments to the by going to the Microsoft 365 Apps Admin Center and get secure with Microsoft 365 apps and protect your org from security vulnerabilities. We've got, again, no data available in here just yet because we've not set up any devices just yet. But we're going to be getting to that in further videos. So again, just an awareness piece that this is here. And very much the same for Windows. And here we can learn how to manage your updates through the cloud with Windows Update for Business. Now that's one way of managing those updates on Windows devices. The newer method, certainly on Windows 11 devices, is going to be that Windows Auto Patch, which is now probably the preferred method for many organizations. But again, we've not configured the settings for this yet. This is something that needs to be configured for your organization. And this is something that you would in fact need an Azure subscription for and a log analytics workspace. So we don't have that on this tenant at the moment. That's something you need to set up, which is something, again, in further videos, not necessarily on this series, but something I will cover on future videos. Okay, so that takes us through the health section. I also want to finish off this video by covering the reports section, because this is a very, very important to know about for this area of the MS 102 exam guide as well. You need to know about this. And under reports, we have two sections. We have adoption score and usage. We'll quickly start with adoption score, which is a feature that you need to available. So it's telling me that it's now available, and we can enable it to learn how people in the org are using Microsoft 365 and how your organization's technology infrastructure influences productivity. So we can enable that, and it's going to go and gather data about that adoption. Again, with this being a brand new tenant that we set up in the first video in this series, it's not really going to pick up anything at all, I wouldn't have thought, because not much has taken place so far in what we've done with this tenant. But when turned on in a real life scenario, a real organization, it's going to provide those insights into your organization's digital transformation journey through its use of M365 technologies and the experiences that support it. So we'll go back to reports, and we'll look. We can get a lot more information from this area here, which is under usage, under reports. And this is really, really nice. In fact, this has changed since the last time that I looked at it. This is in a much nicer layout than what I have been used to. We can see our overview at the top here on the usage reports, which show you how people in your business are using the Microsoft 365 services. The reports are available for the last 7, 30, 90, and 180 days. Now, data won't exist for all reporting periods right away. The reports become available within 48 hours. And again, you get a nice link here to learn more about the Microsoft 365 usage reports, which again, I'll open up and I'll put that link in the description for this video. And we get a nice little overview dashboard here of the active users, of which there is only one at the moment. There's only me. Across these services, which we can filter by O365, Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint. So we're getting that sort of executive level view here of those services. And we can see some activities for email and a nice little chart there. Files stored in SharePoint, Yammer activity, Office activations, and so on and so forth. But down the left, under the product reports, we can go and look at these individually. So we can take a look at Exchange, email activity, email app usage, mailbox usage. Again, there's no real data captured in this tenant just yet. We can see some mailbox usage. There is some mailbox activity in here. And you can export these reports. So there's lots of ways you can get information on these metrics. So for a mailbox, you could export that mailbox report. You could filter by user mailbox or shared mailbox. And the same for the storage, the amount of storage used on those mailboxes, and so on and so forth. We can see there is one user listed here, which is going to be my account, let's face it. I have an item count in there of 17 items. I have storage of 1 megabyte used, which is not much, let's be fair. And the username here, you will notice that is obfuscated, and that is in the privacy settings that we looked at in one of the earlier videos. So you can change that to display the actual usernames here if you need to. But yeah, very, very powerful indeed, and an area that any good Microsoft 365 admin will be keeping an eye on for sure. And you can look at forms, Microsoft browser, data, project, teams. We can look at user activity for teams. There's no information yet, but that would appear here. Teams usage, device usage. We can see there is some Teams usage there, because I've certainly set up some Teams and some chats and that sort of thing, and we're going to export that data, and we can filter by those day ranges that we mentioned earlier, and lots of good stuff there. We can see device usage as well. There won't be any data there for that yet. Office 365 itself, we can see activations of Office 365. And it's probably a good time to talk about Office 365 versus Microsoft 365. There is still use of both of those terms. And Office 365 now, I would say, tends to refer more towards the actual activation of the software that you will install onto your devices. Those full-fledged client versions of things like Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Outlook and so on and so forth. Do you have to install those? No, you don't. You can use the web application versions of those applications now, which are almost good as those fully-fledged applications really these days. For most situations, you don't really need those full apps anymore, but you can still install them, and you can see the activation details here, and the app usage, and the active users. And in the upcoming section of this video series, we will be looking at that as we go forward, and we start looking at users and groups. We can get some statistics on OneDrive as well. We can get some metrics on the accounts, the files, the storage that has been used. We can see that I am there again with my obfuscated details, and the storage of 2 megabytes that I've used so far. SharePoint, no data as yet. So this is a very sort of real world view of what you'll see when you first look at a tenant, when it's brand new out the box, when you've got as far as we have, where you've created the tenant, you've configured some basic settings, you've added a domain and configured some of those organizational settings, then you're getting to this point. So really cool stuff indeed. But these reports, these usage reports, are very, very useful indeed. So that about does it for this video. So that's it for today's video, folks. I'm so pleased that you joined me once again. We've got to the end of our first section in that MS102 study outline guide. We're going to be moving on to a new section in the next video, which is coming up very soon, where we'll be looking at focusing on users and groups and creating and managing them. There's a lot of good stuff to come in that section. I can promise you, you're not going to want to miss it. Fantastic. As ever, I appreciate your support of the channel. I've been so chuffed to bits with the response to the channel so far, and people's comments and likes and shares and subscribes. I do love subscribers on the channel. It's a great way for me to grow the channel and move forward and bring you even more great content. So please do keep on subscribing. Please tell all your friends about it, and like and share and retweet and repost on LinkedIn, wherever it may be that you are finding me. Please spread the word about what we're trying to do here and get some new people on their Microsoft 365 learning journey. Thank you so much as ever, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.